Hello and welcome to week 4 of the Let's Play Summer Blockbuster. This week we are playing Dr. Mario. I think it's kind of funny that this is another game with Mario in sort of a supporting role. Like last week he was the referee in Punch-Out, and now he's a doctor for some reason. This does seem kind of an early game where Nintendo realized, like, hey, instead of just making like a puzzle game with some no-name characters in it, let's stick Mario in it. Everybody loves Mario. Now you've got like Mario Kart and Mario Party and Mario Tennis and Paper Mario. They make a lot of Mario games now, and this seems like one of the early games where they just kind of stuck Mario in it. Sega would do something similar a few years later when they released Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, a game that has nothing to do with Sonic the Hedgehog, but they stuck characters from it in it. So, as you can see, Dr. Mario is a bit of a pretty traditional top-down falling objects puzzle game. But this one does differ from others in a bit of a way where there's no like real time pressure. Like, it's not a game where new rows of enemies will pop up from the bottom of the screen and push anything up. And then the game doesn't get faster as you go, you just have a level and you clear it. So it's a bit unique in that way. One thing that's I kind of like about this game is how the little characters in the corner will react when you clear a line. Sort of reminds me of, what's the one, Puzzle Fighter and other games where they kind of add some animated flair to a puzzle game that's can be kind of boring to look at a lot of the time. So the goal of this game is to get 4 in a row of your little pills, and this game can be really difficult at times when they give you the wrong pills and you don't know how to dig. So the thing is that when you bury yourself, it is incredibly difficult to dig out because most of the time you're sort of heading up, and as you can see right here, it's just not giving me the red ones I need, and I've only got 3 red guys left. Then that last one gives me a lot of trouble because you can see he's completely buried. He's got a red, then 2 yellows, then a blue. So there's really just no way to get him from the top in a timely manner, and I'm surprised that this ended up being the good run that I kept because that guy gave me a lot of trouble. And I don't even know what I was doing here, but anyways, this game took a little getting used to because I've played Puyo Puyo in the past, or as you may know it, Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, where when you sort of hang a block off a ledge, it'll fall and break apart. The gravity in this one really takes some getting used to, how the pills will only fall once you split them with a reaction. But after playing it several times, I did really start to enjoy this game actually. It's got a really interesting strategy. Like, once you get into the rhythm, it's pretty good, but one thing I have noticed is that if you start to bury yourself, you'd have to make it like an immediate priority to dig yourself out before you get overwhelmed extremely quickly. So thank God we're playing on low speed, because there are parts where I'm just staring at the blocks going, okay, there's no ideal place for this to put it. What place is gonna fuck me the least, basically. So I can't really picture myself talking about Dr. Mario for 15 minutes, so I thought I'd spend a little time to talk about the history and the current Summer Blockbuster Let's Play Olympics, if that's the name, whatever. So I guess this is the 5th one. The first was, I hope I'm right on these facts, that there was the Fat Kakashi one, then Freezing Inferno, then Polly, then Zune Toto. Now we've got Heavy Metal Mage and Freezing Inferno together. I only really paid attention to the one that Polly ran. I watched most of the videos there and remember what the games were. And I do think that so far this one seems closer in style to that one, like with the achievements being set up the way they are and just the overall game selection in general. One thing I have noticed though is that we're getting very well-known games so far, like Contra, and I guess Contra was a bit of a given, but then Sonic the Hedgehog was kind of a surprise, then Punch-Out was a surprise, and now Dr. Mario, sort of a pretty well-known puzzle game. I mean, it's no Tetris, but Tetris was evil because that was like probably even harder to commentate too. But I think with these games that they're choosing, it's actually a secret little plan to have the site shut down. Let's look at this, shall we? First we had the Contra week. That was one of the games, well, a game with the Konami logo at the very start. I don't think anybody put that in their video, and that's probably a good thing, because I do believe a few people on the site, maybe even Fresno himself, have gotten takedown notices just for having the Konami logo in their videos. So hopefully that didn't happen to anyone this week. Then there's Sonic, so Sonic's sort of laying low. But then having 2 Nintendo games in a row, that is just like asking for their lawyers to come banging on our doors. Hopefully that doesn't happen though. So the other thing I've noticed, that having really well-known games, it does seem to sort of lead to certain people, I'm about to name names actually, certain people can have an advantage with the games when it's a game they've known like since they were 6 years old or something. Like when Decoy posted his Punch-Out video 2 hours after the thing went up, I was like, oh, this is what it must have felt like when I posted that Sonic video. I don't know Punch-Out. I'm fucked. I can't beat that. So right now in the rankings, Gesh is in first place, and probably rightfully so. He is just insanely consistent. Like, he always nails it, never an off week at all. I'm in second right now, and Decoy Octopus, my rival, is in third. Hopefully I beat him, but that's probably not a good idea to be all. I'm going to beat the guy in third place. That's not a lofty goal at all. Oh boy, we're only at 7 minutes. This is going to be fun. So, I know the last few games have all started with Contra, but I wasn't even thinking like, hey, they're probably going to start with Contra. I didn't even think that. I just saw the game was Contra 3 and I go, oh yeah, Contra Week, I remember that. Luckily, sorry about coughing, Contra 3 was a game I played a ton as a kid. Probably, I mean, I had the original Contra, and my cousin always made fun of me because he thought I sucked at it. I had to use the 30 lives code because I sucked at Contra when I was a kid. But Contra 3 was... Actually, that's the only one I really played for a long time, and I only played that one on easy, but easy's good to learn the game. And then a few years ago, I was trained in the art of Contra by Pauly. I'm not even sure how it started. It was just some sort of challenge like, oh, I'll beat the Contra in 1 credit just to show you. And my first LP ever was actually of Contra, but I only showed it to Pauly, and it was a friggin' mess. Just ask her about the wall sometime. She'll probably be quite eager to tell you about that. Basically, I guess I should be the one to tell it. I was so nervous talking and playing a video game at the same time that I died to the boss, the wall at the start of Contra 1. It was pretty pathetic. Or according to her, the most hilarious thing ever. So I joined the LP Summer Blockbusters on a bit of a whim. I'm not entirely sure why, because I hadn't done anything like it before, but I was doing the Toho double spoiler LP at the time, and I was just like, well, this will be wrapping up soon. Maybe I'll do this just to do something else. Maybe get out of my shell a bit. So, wasn't really thinking about it too much, and then played Contra. Contra's fun, and then, oh, I'm in first place. This is awkward, because I'm against all these people who are better than me and have done this for a while. Like, okay, I guess I had a bit of an unfair advantage with Contra. I mean, hope I'm not coming off like too cocky here. I was just truly, genuinely surprised when I ended up in first. So then Sonic Week starts, and it's like, ah, crap, well, I'm in first now. I gotta go all out and defend the crown, I don't know, whatever. So I played Sonic, like, all friggin' day that Sunday, like, non-stop, like, figuring out the route and getting them Chaos Emeralds. And little tip, the 5th Chaos Emerald stage is fucking impossible. And once again, I learned this much later on, that You actually need less rings to get the emeralds when you're solo. You need more when you're with Tails. Now, if you guys have played those special stages, Tails makes it harder. So the fact that you need less rings without him is kind of insane. Hope I'm not going a little too off topic here. So, I did the Sonic video. I got a pretty good score, and one thing was, I mean, I thought the Sonic score run thing was pretty genius idea. It's not a way I would have ever thought to play that game, like going for score instead of just like speed or distance. Well, I guess those are the same thing, but I did think the Sonic score thing had some elements that unbalanced it a bit, like most notably the 50,000 point bonus for clearing an act in 30 seconds. So I'm not sure if the judges were aware of that, because that's such a huge advantage. I mean, I think on the final scoreboards it was pretty much, so did you do that in 30 seconds or not? Because that's like all the people that did it are on top and all the people that didn't are on the bottom. So part of wanting to post my score first was actually to give everyone a heads up, like, hey, this is a thing, like, if you're gonna go for this, you gotta go for this 30 seconds, because like, I don't see any way that not doing that would improve your score. So I was kind of hoping to see if somebody would beat my score on that week. I'm being totally honest, like, I wanted to see the run that somehow found something I didn't and beat my ass on that, but so I came in first again on the Sonic week. Well, I guess first score-wise, I didn't get the most points with commentary added in, but that was cool. So I hang on to first, and then Punch-Out week arrived, and yeah, that was my sobering week. I go, oh, I don't know this game at all, and oh shit, Decoy's really good at this game. So maybe could have put more effort into that week. I may be regretting it now, but eventually there's the point where it's like, well, I'm not going to learn to be a master of Punch-Out in a couple days, especially when Decoy apparently has been playing that game since he was a little Decoy. He was still in the... I want to make an octopus joke here, but I don't know what they breed. Like, he was still in his mommy's ink sack. There, we'll go with that. Oh, so one other thing, I got a little ahead of myself. One other thing I wanted to mention about Sonic was the secret bonus point for that week really surprised me. Like, I think it was Tajir who did it first, maybe I'm wrong, when somebody figured out the dive to survive thing and was going underwater and letting the counter get to 2 and then surviving that. I was just like, oh, that's obviously what it is, because it's like literally instructions. You dive, and the counter gets to 2, then you survive, and oh, big score combo right there. If you missed it, go rewind. That shot me up over 15,000 points. But then the secret bonus point ended up being getting the 1-up that was underwater. So I thought that was clever, but I was really surprised that the getting the counter to 2 wasn't the answer. So in Punch-Out week, this secret bonus point seemed extremely obvious to me. Like, I hadn't even played Punch-Out a ton. And I was like, oh, but you press select between rounds to regain health. That can't be the secret bonus point. Everybody knows that. I don't even play the game and I know that. So I was convinced that there was a real secret bonus point that like nobody would get. And I actually figured out what it was. So here's my theory, and this is why week 1 they said I had a degree in secret bonus point theory. The real secret bonus point last week was to win a win a match by judge decision. That's the only other way that it could have made sense, because that way you're being selected by the judges. So I read way too much into that, and then I ended up being wrong, and it actually was just pressing select. Little disappointing. And oh my, we seem to be coming up on 15 minutes already. I hope you've enjoyed this video where I barely talked about Dr. Mario at all. Here's my final score, about 16,800. I sorry, Heavy Metal Mage, I beat you, and really looking forward to see what the next week's game is. I have no idea what it could be, because week 5 does tend to seem to be the mystery week. So, see you then.